July 1st, 2019. That was a day that was probably the most important day of my life. That was the day that TEDxPortofSpain announced that I'd be a speaker here today. But that's not really the reason. There's another. It was the day that my daughter, Saul Isabel Lee Bacchus, was born. Babies usually make you think about the future. What sort of life will you give them? What sort of world will you leave to them? But for some reason, Saul has me thinking more and more about the past. Now, Trinidad and Tobago has been blessed, we can all admit that. We've had lots of resources, lots of wealth, and it seems to have become the center of many parts of our identity. Now, I don't want my daughter to measure her value with money. Of course, money can buy you a nice car to navigate the potholes in Port of Spain. Money can ensure that you can pay for a solid education. Money can even insulate you from crime with high walls and a security system. At least some people think so. But money cannot insulate you from a society that has lost its roots. And the roots of Trinidad and Tobago have always been firmly embedded in the land. The land fed us. The land watered us. The land gave us work in cocoa, coffee, and sugar. The land has been the bedrock of community in Trinidad and Tobago for hundreds of years. However, with the advent of oil, that changed, and land became nothing more than a commodity to buy and sell. And what became important to us, what became the center of our new identity, was this: wide roads, tall buildings, and shopping malls made of glass and steel that glisten in the Caribbean sun. What good is that? Now, my ancestors would have thought that this situation that we find ourselves in quite ridiculous, to be honest. They understood that a society is defined by its relationship with these three things: land, money, and community. You see, my ancestors were born in the American villages of Moruga. My great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents as well, obviously were born there. The Americans, some of you all may know, were escaped African slaves who fought for the British against the Americans in the War of 1812. Of course, the British lost the war, but in their divine wisdom and generosity, they decided to offer free passage to the former colonial Marines who fought for them to their possessions in the West Indies, like Trinidad. And these people landed in Moruga. Imagine, it's 1814. You and 761 other colonial Marines are about to land in Trinidad. You are free. You have fought for your freedom. But every other black face you see in this country, in this island, is enslaved still. How do you feel about that? How would that make you feel? What would that make you think about? What would that make you reflect on? Well, the Americans reflected on their culture. And they built a mini society on African traditions married with Christian ideology. They brought with them the Susu. Many of us know about the Susu growing up in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a lone club, informal, rotating, no interest, based on the honor system. Many people were able to send their kids to school, buy school books, invest in a little business through the Susu. Many members of my family included. But the Susu has lost popularity many decades ago. Perhaps because of the rise of the commercial banking system. Maybe it was coincidental, maybe not. I don't think it was coincidence. But what I'd like to propose is a new model of the Susu. A Susu focused on the small businessman, the sole trader. Because these are people who find it difficult to access credit, who find it difficult to access capital. They are locked out of the financial system. What I propose is a system where you have a parallel Susu system for small businesses. And you build your credit by paying in and getting paid over a particular period of time. And this should be plugged into our credit rating system in Trinidad and Tobago to show that these people have proven that they can pay a loan. They have proven that they can invest their money wisely. So they're no longer locked out. They have a foot up into this traditional banking system that we all must engage with at some point. The Americans also brought with them a work-share program called the GIAP. It's a work-share model. I need my house repaired. I call the villagers together, and with food and drink, the village would get to work and repair my house. What I could have done in a month, they could help me get done in a couple days. When my neighbor needs his crops reaped, guess what? The village comes together again, fueled again by that food and drink and the African drum. Now, the GIAP is a system that I think we can also revise. We can also remodel. But in this instance, we harness the power of the non-profit organization and CBO in Trinidad and Tobago. So any citizen, anybody resident in Trinidad, you can go to an NGO that's a member of this program. You can say, listen, I want to be part of the GIAP. They say, okay, what are your skills? They put you onto a project that is related to your skills. For the hours that you put in, you get credits. This is not for the highly skilled necessarily. All right? You get credits, and these credits you take and you can access food, you can access medicine, you can access perhaps public transportation with these credits, bus tickets. We have to figure out ways to ensure that the people that need it can access a wider community of support. Also, in the concept of the GIAP, there was the possibility of land sharing, land loaning, and giving away land. My great-great-uncle, Clunis Moville, donated the land to the Mount Olive Baptist Church in 5th Company, Moruga. There's no plaque to Clunis there. There's no foundation stone with his name on it. But the priest remembers his name and whose land it is. The congregation remembers his name and whose land it is. Over 100 years, and I suspect they'll remember fairly easily for another 100 years. This is my boy, TJ. You might know him as Thomas Jefferson. He was the first gentleman to bring a seed, a rice seed, out of West Africa in the 19th century to the States. Now, this rice did not find favor with planters there, so it found its way, of course, to poor plots of land toiled by slaves, and in so doing, found its way through those slaves and former colonial marines to Trinidad, where it grows now in Moruga. What I propose is that we use this Hillier rice. This Hillier rice is incredibly resilient, just like the American people. It can grow on the hill, it can grow in the valley, it can grow on the plains, it can grow with lots of water, it can grow with little water. This is a climate resilient product. Trinidad and Tobago needs to harness this not only for our own food security in the coming times, but potentially for something that we can give to the world. We've been talking about diversification. These are the areas that we need to diversify into. This is a gift. This is the type of opportunity that we need to explore. So I want to talk to Sol, my daughter. She might see this talk when she's a little girl. She might see it when she's a young woman. She will probably have heard some of these things I'm saying at least once or twice. But I think it bears saying again, Sol. Like the Americans, I hope that you remember to collaborate and cross-pollinate your ideas with others. It's something that is sorely missing in our society in many ways. You don't know everything. Ask questions, collaborate. Invest in your community, and not only with money, but with sweat, with toil, with effort. It makes a difference. And of course, remember these stories. There's a little American in all of us. These were people that came here with nothing and planted hope in the soil of Moruga. And all I ask of you is that you remember the Americans. Thank you.